Hey, what's up guys, Zo again. Today I'm really pleased to show you the last Slate Digital beast, aka VTM, aka Virtual Tape Machines algorithm by Fabrice Gabriel. As usual, beautiful GUI. We're gonna make a quick overview about the plugin. Then I'm gonna show you how to set up the plugin on the station, and then we're gonna play with the different switches to really figure out the sonic impact of each one on the signal. Okay, so first of all, we have the input output as usual. If I increase the input, the output will automatically decrease by the same amount, plus 7.6 dB for example in here, minus 0.6 dB here. Why? Because the link options is engaged. So if I disengage it, if I increase the input, the output will not move. Okay, why we have this option? Because guys, if you guys don't know, this is very crucial for you to be able to compare the signal processed and the signal unprocessed at the same volume. This is crucial. Okay, no matter the kind of processing you're gonna make, dynamic, EQs or whatever, you always compare the unprocessed signal and the processed signal at the same volume. So this is very handy. Okay, then we have some beautiful VU meters, very smooth, I really like it. And to make it short for the guys that don't know about tapes, you got the red zone in here, and this is where the fun begins. The more closer you get to zero, the more saturation and magic gonna happen. Okay, then we have 4 switches in here. First one, machine type, 2-inch 16 track, half-inch 2 track. First one, Studer A827. Second one, Studer A80RC. So you got 2 type of tape. All right. Okay, so basically you have 1 plugin but 2 tape. Very cool. Thank you very much. And to tell you the truth, guys, Slate really did a awesome job just choosing the tape, because there's a lot of tape in here, and the models he chose are very well chosen. Sorry if you hear some noise on the background, but I'm on holidays and this is why this video is kind of late. And so if you hear some noise, this is because I'm in the south of France, guys. Sunny day. So tape type. Second switches. The tape type, basically you choose the tape type. Okay, the first one, the FG456, is the old tape. I'm gonna say old because this is from 1975 and this is as old as me, so this is not a really old tape, but this is quite old. And so you get plus 6 dB of headroom on this tape. The second one, the FG9, is a more modern tape, and you have more headroom, plus 9 dB of headroom. Basically, the headroom, if you guys don't know, this is the saturation tolerance. The more headroom you're gonna have, the more the hottest signal you can put on the tape before it starts to saturate. Okay. Then you have the speed. Okay, the speed, you have 2 types of speed. So this is the speed of the tape, and so you got 30 inches per second. You have less noise and basically a flat response, a pretty flat response above 200, okay, hertz, of course. And then you have 15 inches per second. This is a non-linear response. This is less linear than the first one, and we have some things going on the lows. We're gonna check this out later. The bias, I encourage you guys to stick with the normal position, but you can even choose the high bias or low bias. The high bias will saturate the highs frequencies earlier. Okay, the lows will saturate the high frequencies later, and it's gonna reduce also the dynamic response of it. Okay, then you have the bypass process of the plugin, so you're able to bypass or engage the plugin. Very handy for you to compare the process signal or not, and of course at the same volume. And so the group option, which is crucial too on this type of plugin. I already showed you the option on the Slate Digital VCC. If you guys didn't check the video, I encourage you to check it out. But basically what it does, it allows you to group the plugins, and so to mutualize the processing, not the processing, the controls to be exact. Okay, so basically you have one GUI and you control all the plugins at the same time. Very, very handy. Okay, and then you have the settings. And guys, I know some of you don't really like to go on the settings, but this is very fun on this one. First of all, you have the noise reduction. So if the plugin is too noisy for your tastes, you can reduce it. Okay, because Fabrice Gabriel also modelized the noise of the tape and all that. So you can decrease the noise reduction because you don't really like it, or you can decrease it simply because sometimes you're gonna put a dynamic processor after this plugin, and so you're gonna have an increase in the volume, and so you're gonna increase the noise by the same time. So this control is very handy for you to be able to reset the noise at the good volume. Okay, then you got the wow and flutter. What it does, basically, to make it short, it's like a pitch modulation. The older the tape is, the more wow and flutter you're gonna have. Okay, so this is the weird thing on the tape, but we also loved it. And so pitch modulation can be very, very, very cool. For example, for me, I'm use it especially on kind of chorus type of material, vocals, background vocals, synths, horns, and all that. All the things that have some chorus on it, I'm gonna increase the wow and flutter to make it even more noticeable. Okay, then you have the bass element. Very, very useful tool, because you're gonna see that when we switch tape type, the type of tape machine, the type of tape, and even the speed, you're gonna have some frequency response, especially on the lows, difference. So the bass element allows you to play with this thing, and so to lower the bass if you want it, to get sometime a more linear frequency response, or to increase it. This is how you feel. Okay, the bass element basically was noticeable when the tech guys back in the days, when he used to calibrate the tape. So by making the calibration, he used to calibrate the frequency response on the bass especially. Okay, his auto mode, very, very handy too, because this option is already switched on by default when you insert the plugin, and this option allows the plugin to stop making haze noise when no signal is engaged, when no signal is on the plugin. Okay, very handy too. Okay, then you have the VU ballistic. You can tell the plugin how fast or slow you want the needles move. You get a default group, very handy too. We're gonna deal with that later. And then the calibration level. This thing is very crucial too, because I already showed you when we dealt with the VCC. Okay, if you guys remember. If you don't remember, go check it. I made another video on the VCC. So to make it short, you have the calibration, the global calibration, and the group calibration. The lower you're gonna put the slider on, and the less, the quicker you're gonna saturate, the less headroom you're gonna have. The higher you're gonna put it, the more headroom you're gonna have, the safer you're gonna be before saturation occurs. I don't know if I'm clear or not, but if you really want to check it out what happened, go check the VCC video I made. Okay, so we just finished about the plugin overview. We're gonna now use it in saturation. Okay, so now how to use this baby. So for those that own VCC from Slate Digital too, this is pretty the same thing. For those that don't know, I'm gonna show you right now. So this baby, you're gonna use it where you want. Each track or several or a specific track, each bus on the master, wherever you want. Okay, now first insert, last insert, no rules. In fact, here I inserted the VTM after all my plugins on the kick here, because simply I'm gonna have some dynamic change via this plugin, and so I don't want to impact too much my pi compressor in here. Okay, so you just have to be aware what you're doing and the thing, and also experiment. Okay, so for now I'm gonna use it on the last insert. Okay, so now I have one instance on the kick. So what I'm gonna do, this instance is already grouped on group 1. Okay, so I'm gonna just copy and paste this instance on all other beats track for me to be able to mutualize all the plugin at once by using the group option. Okay, so by doing this copy and paste stuff, I'm just copying and paste the first plugin, which was already driven by 5.7 dB and already grouped on group 1. So if I open up instances, they will have all the same thing. Okay, so the group options is here for what? For this, if I'm gonna on my kick decrease the input gain, for example, it's gonna decrease the input gain of all my instances on the same group. If I switch here on the 2 track, switch is moving here. Tape type, switch is moving here. Okay, so with one instance of the plugin, you can control all the plugins group on the same group. Okay, but another handy thing is that you're able to mutualize all the thing, or choose to not mutualize the input-output stage. Okay, so for example here on my Kabasa track, if I unlink this button, right now if I increase the input, I'm driving my Kabasa very hard, independently from the input-output control of other instances on the same group. So very handy too. Okay, the other switches stays linked. Okay, this is only unlinking the input and so the output. Okay, so different link option from the first one I showed you. Alright, so very handy too. Now you got another option I wanted to show you. Now you get a default group, which means that every time I'm gonna insert instance, it's gonna be on this default group. By default this is ungrouped, but I'm gonna do it now on group 2, which means that if I insert a VTM here, okay, now this is already on group 2. Okay, so I just have to make this and that, and so all my instances for the instruments are grouped to group 2. Okay, so this is why this default group setting is for. Okay, to make some quick group thing very quickly. Okay, so same for the buses. You can link, put the buses on the same group or not. This is basically the same. This is very easy to set up. Okay guys, now we're gonna deal with the sound. Yeah baby. Okay guys, now we're gonna deal with the sound. I'm gonna show you the sonic impact of each switches in here. So we're gonna deal with a beat. I'm gonna increase it right here. This is bypassed. I want you guys to focus on the high information first. Okay, especially on my OH here. Okay, and this information. Left, right, left. Okay. Okay. Next bar. Okay, you see, you hear how the highs are more controlled, less harsh. Bypassed. Very obvious. Focus on the here we go. Very smooth. Bypass. If you don't hear it, see it here. Okay? Here we go. Alright? Okay, so what we have here, a very smooth compression of the highs, very, very cool, very handy if you want to decrease the harshness of a material, vocals, harsh sense or some, very cool. Now we're going to switch from the 16 track to the 2 track. Okay, focus on the high too and also on the lows here. But listen, don't look too much. Here we go. Okay, very obvious 2 track. Okay, I got my highs back on the map a little more, and I have a big bass boost here. Okay, so if you guys don't want this bass boost, this is where the best element tool is gonna be handy for you to be able to decrease the bass information. Okay, if I switch from 16 to 2 track, it's gonna be more accurate now. Next bar. Okay, 2 track. Okay, still the difference on the bass, but less big. Now I'm gonna drive this thing crazy to show you something. Track. On both, you see clearly heavy compression. The more you drive the tape, the more you're gonna have some compression on the highs, and it's gonna keep the low information, which is good. Okay. If I switch from 16 to 2 track, listen to the difference. The highs are back too. There we go. Okay, so you clearly hear the difference between the two, and how the 2 track is a little more cleaner, less heavy on the compression on the highs. Okay, now we're gonna switch the tape type. FG456, the old tape. Now we're gonna switch to the FG9. Next bar. You see how the highs are back? Even on the 16 track. Now, how we lose the high information right now. FG9. Okay, so definitely play with the tape type. Okay, you're gonna have some impact on the highs and also on the transient response. Now the speed, we are on 30 inches per second. I'm gonna lower. Okay, I hear some noise. have the lows more controlled. I don't know if you feel it. Maybe it's gonna be obvious on the 2-track, maybe. You hear the lows here? Listen when I'm gonna switch it. Okay. Okay, so definitely another impact in here on the noise, on the frequency response too. Okay, now I want you guys to maybe see what I feel here, especially on the transient response. Okay, so what we have here, and so now you can see the waveform of the real-time processing. Okay, so I'm gonna bypass the plugin, 16 track, back, okay. Stay focused on the transient response. Okay, I'm gonna engage it right now. Okay. So you feel and see the compression going on. If I drive it crazy, the high information are lost, the snare and all that. The kick are pretty well conserved. Back. Now I'm gonna switch the meshing type, okay? There we go. What I feel is that, listen to the snare here. When I told you that the highs are back on the map, you have a pretty better transient preservation, okay? So the transients are well preserved with this tape type, with the machine type, sorry. Back to 16. Two-track. Okay. Now I'm gonna stick with the 16 and see the impact of the tape tap right now. This is the old tape. FG9 next. And this is where it's crazy because with this tape type, it's like having the transient response better, but in fact, it's like having a compression with slow attack. You know, the transient are briefing, but then you have a heavy compression after that. Back to the old one. Okay. FG9. Less boomy. This is less boomy, a more clean, a better transient response with a dynamic master. So I really think that the combination of the FG9 and the 2-track is the one you can use for master purposes or on your tubers, on your 2-track. Okay, I'm gonna get back to the old one and stick with the 2-track. Okay, 2-track FG9 next. You see how the transients are enhanced? Old tape. This is less obvious than the combination of 16-track and the tape type, right? Because on the 2-track, we used to have the high information less compressed. Now we're gonna deal with the impact of the speed. Back to 16 track. Okay, slower speed. High speed. Okay. Slower speed next bar. This is less controlled. Now we're gonna play with the 2-track and the speed. Now, okay, very obvious on the lows, as I told you. Focus on the kick here. Okay, I'm gonna get back to normal speed. Here, look at the kick, very boomy. Here. Now, look here. Okay, the same placement of the kick, the same transient of the kick, but then heavy compression after that. So it lets the kick place itself on the mix, and then you compress it to avoid this boominess. So the speed have a big impact on it. So guys, I'm gonna stop here. Because I don't want to saturate you with a lot of information. I can spend a whole week on this thing, but guys, what you have to really understand about this plugin, as you have seen and heard, is that the combinations are endless. I mean, you can play with the machine type, tape type, speed tape type, machine type, tape type. Okay, I'm gonna stop here or I'm gonna be crazy. Even with the drive and all that, the combinations are endless. You can have some pretty clean stuff to obvious things. So I really encourage you to read the manual, to really try this plugin and to try it with a lot of material, and to try it to really go deep on those switches and also the setting, okay? And also to play with it with the amount of drive, because it's very material dependent, and as you've seen, the saturation is not linear, which means that the more you're gonna drive it, the more you're gonna drive more the highs, and the low are kind of kept. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You can see the other video on the Slate Digital VCC if you want to understand the gain stage, and also be sure to subscribe if you want to stay in touch when I'm gonna post other videos. Okay guys, take care of you.